observe what's around us. But if you listen to bird calls here, you can hear up to 8 different calls at once. I've tried to count and capture each one. So you pick up one and then you hear that one over there. It's just incredible. This is this symphony of music, and it's made me realize that our ears are truly attuned to these kinds of sounds. We have very sensitive ears, eardrums, and so forth, and the jarring sounds of modern civilization and society, that's exactly what they are, is jarring and stress creating. So this truly is music, you know, to the ears, and I've had even people come here and say it's quite noisy. This becomes noise when you're used to an office where you can shut everything out and turn the fan on, or the AC, what we call white noise.
Yeah.
And that's quiet for people. So I find this absolutely delightful. And
I'm sure at dusk the cicadas are really loud.
Not
they are in my farm.
Yeah.
It's so loud.
They're loud. The hotter and lower you are, it seems, in altitude, the louder they seem to get. When the sun comes out, the cicadas sing, and but when it gets cool or raining, they seem to stop. It doesn't get too loud here, but those sounds too are part of, you know, all part of the true symphony, you know, of sound. And when I came here and left kind of music behind in the U.S., I was performing and teaching as a musician. I was just ready to move into a place of receiving the music. Not so much being in the performance mode, you know. And so I was ready to leave the instruments at home, and I'm not playing electronic music, no radios. This is it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm receiving so much all day long. And yes, the sounds change at night. What happens, there's this like tinker bell, the frogs at night. It's magical, it's divine. Tink, 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 all night. It just, to me, sounds magical. And there's a rhythm. There is something going on there. So we're entertained all day, you know. It's
and the different little bowls and valleys around here, there are different sounds. So last week we were at Eco Loco at like 7 p.m., so it was dark. And we were there, and they turned the car off and just listened for a minute. And some of the sounds we recognized because we hear them on our farm, and then some other ones were totally new to us. Different kind of frog or cricket or something.
Yeah, so in what's so great about Costa Rica, we have this very mountainous terrain, and we have these microclimates, and every farm is completely unique. So it's even hard to predict, given that you're going to live near someone, that your climate's going to be like theirs. You know? And the way the wind blows and the way the terrain is set up. This is quite a magical, you know, scenario here, because it's part of this Fila Tina Mastes, this mountain range that juts out. The ocean is over that way. And there's another ridge that's coming towards us right over here to the right. And there's actually a valley behind there. Can you see some trees? So this unique situation where it kind of curves around, and I just feel like I'm nestled in this beautiful bowl of incredibly rich and diverse wildlife in this greenery. You have to imagine the oxygen that's coming in. I've been sleeping. This is my home. We are in my home right now. This is just a thatched, it's called a rancho, but it's thatch, which is royal palm leaf. And the wood was salvaged from an old Tico house that I bought, and we dismembered it and brought the wood up here. The round posts up above were harvested locally on a farm just down the road. So I've been sleeping here for the past 5 years, or on this table out here, which is where I do a lot of yoga and meditation, qigong. Small table. What I love about sleeping there is I'm totally under the open sky at night, and the stars, and there's so much amazing information that's coming from the stars and the planets. And
the stars last night were mind-blowing.
Amazing. I
they?
agree, and the fact that we can see them.
Yeah.
They're here, the skies are so clear. There's a lot of information, important information that's being disseminated through right now, especially right now in this time of great change. There's important information and light frequencies and many things that are coming through the cosmic radiation that we want actually to be exposed to. It's really a time now to be grounded, earth connected, but also under the open sky. And I know there's concerns about radiation, man-made radiation that's now coming through the atmosphere. But what we have to do is sort of create our own shield, around us, and try to imagine that you are a filter and can actually filter out the radiation that isn't for your highest good and receive that which is. So we need to be very vigilant now and very attuned and alert as these changes come forth. And so for me, when I can, I'll sleep out all night under the table here, but otherwise I'm here. And you have to imagine the amount of oxygen and fresh air that has come into my lungs, into my brain, and the gift of receiving, breathing out, and them breathing out, the trees, and receiving and giving. So this has been very lovely, and I wake up every morning and I just never get tired of this.
No, it's absolutely stunning.
Earlier today we were talking about color therapy, and that green wall, and I have a green wall, I stare at on my farm too. When I first moved here, I would just get lost in it, just looking at this forest green all the time. And I'd be like, oh God, I got some work to do. Get back to it, Jody.
You got to build a farm.
This, what's surrounding us right now is pure truth. Is pure truth. Everything here is real. Everything here is, is integrious. Everything here is here for a meaning and purpose. And what you find here is that, that's true green, green, whatever we try to use words to describe. But what you find here is this incredible place of unconditional love, which is just reaching out to share the teachings, and for me, having traveled quite a bit and living in cities, and my last big stop was New York City, where I had a huge transformation there, when I was working as a musician. Before I moved to New York, I did about a decade of world travels. So I've been to many places, but living out in nature, I would have to say coming here was really the first time that I had a chance to be natural, to spend days and hours in silence by myself in nature, just receiving from the plants and animals. And it was my choice actually to come here and not be or live with anyone, just to come alone, which involved total release of any kind of fear. It did help that I was fluent in Spanish when I came here, because I did spend 3 of my traveling. I traveled for a decade. 3 of those years were in South America, where I learned Spanish. So I was ready. When I came here, I felt that this was going to be a very new life, just a baby, just taking baby steps and starting over. In the last 5 years, I have learned so much. This has been really the most incredible time in my life. When I look back, we have these phases in our life, and actually they've all been good, and I was very much into each of them, but the richness and the vitality that I feel here, health and connection and higher access, accessing of higher consciousness. I feel like